Well, we are live.
Hey,
What up, mate?
Tezza,
What's
T-Dog.
going on?
It's
What is
been
going on?
it's been too long.
I
What
know.
happened to us?
Um, COVID happened to you.
Yeah, it did.
How
It
was
did.
that?
It sucked. It was a big giant sucker. And I'm kind of better, but I'm still like you can probably hear it a little bit. Like I'm still a little congested and we're going on 3 weeks. So yeah, I spoke to you on the Wednesday night before the grand final.
Oh
And
yeah.
by Friday night, actually watching the grand final, like it was definitely like a, like a nosedive, By the end of the game, I was like, oh yeah, I'm really sick. So, yeah, I was actually just saying that I feel like I need to rewatch the game because my memory of it is very spotty, you know?
You don't need to watch the game. It's fine. We know what happened.
Well, I mean, everybody says it's the like one of the best grand finals they've ever seen.
Yeah, it was.
So you agree?
I do agree. It was
Okay.
probably in my top five.
Your top five. So give me your top two. What are the best games you've ever watched?
The best grand final I can remember watching would be, I think, 2006 West Coast
2006.
Sydney.
Ooh, West Coast
Yep.
Sydney.
Yep. And then
I
I
think
think
I actually saw that game in a bar.
back
Did
in 2006.
I think so? Did we win? We
You
won. We
you
won,
did.
right?
So
Yeah, we won.
Sydney won it in '05, and then the
Okay.
Eagles won it in '06. Wait, have
Yeah.
I got that right? I'm pretty sure I've got
I
that
think you're
right.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been a while, but yeah, I
yeah,
think I actually watched that game around like a lot of Aussies in a bar in Hollywood.
yeah. So that's my
Yeah.
best. And then I think 2018, the Eagles again.
Eagles again. Oh, see, I think you're a secret Eagles fan.
Maybe, maybe.
I thought I was for sure going to think that you were going to spit out a Carlton grand final somewhere in
Yeah.
history.
But there's a lot that's happened
Yeah.
because there's like a historical seismic shift that's happened now
Oh,
because Collingwood have now won 16 premierships, which means they're tied with Carlton and Essendon, and it's like
so
there's a lot
let's
of
talk about
gravity.
that. Let's talk about that.
You want to unpack it?
Why? Why? How have they won that many games if the AFL has only been around for a couple decades? How?
The,
How is
dec-
it? How is it
yeah, the
possible?
AFL's been around for more than a couple of decades.
Well, when's the actual AFL? When did that kick in?
As
The
in, you can't say
not
the
the
AFL.
Victorian Football
You
League.
can't.
When
It
did
doesn't
the
work that
AFL?
way. Whoever's
But
put this in your
why?
head,
But
because the
why?
league, we added competitions. We added teams to the
No,
competition.
so it should start. It should start fresh. I'm not going to ever let this go.
What,
Because
you think we should start at zero from 1990?
yeah, yeah, I do.
That
I
is
do because that's when
blasphemous.
the AFL started, right? That's when the
Hey,
AFL started, and then the
without teams like
Victorian.
us,
Yeah,
without teams like us,
yeah.
there would be no West Coast. There would be no Fremantle. So you just got to learn to understand who allowed you to
So,
run.
oh, all right, I have to get my boxing gloves on. All right, I'm gonna let it go because I haven't seen
You
you in a while.
interstate people just like to complain about the bias and this and
Aren't
that.
you
You
an
get
Aren't you an interstate team to other states?
no, as in like
Yeah, I know what
there's
you mean.
this yeah,
I know
there's
what you
this
mean.
complaint that there's a Victorian bias. Well, yeah, there is a Victorian bias because we
Okay.
built the damn thing.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, damn it.
So,
All right.
um,
All right. Well, so but I'm glad that you gave credit where credit due that two of your top grand final games were
yeah,
Eagles. So I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let
yeah,
it go. I'm gonna let you have that. So a couple things happened, but something because I want to ask you about the trades with your team and everything. But I just saw this headline right before we got on this call. Is this a call? This chat? It said the AFL has been rocked after a player from a Melbourne based finals team returned a positive drug test. Dun, dun, dun.
bum, bum, bum. And it's
Scandalous. Who is it?
yeah,
Who do you think it
and
is?
I don't know who it is, but Collingwood have come out and released a statement saying that they're aware of the
Oh,
report.
Okay.
think it's a Collingwood player. But I hope I've got that right. Let me just fact check myself.
Well, I just saw I just took a screenshot of the Instagram post. So they kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, since they just use the word finals and not grand finals, it kind of leaves it like murky, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I have questions about this because one, is it suggesting a cover up, right? Because it's saying they got the results after. So then if you got it after, then why bother playing? Doesn't make any sense. I
Well,
mean, why testing? No, why bother testing?
yeah. So I think the statement made reference to it was a home and away match.
Okay.
So
So before finals?
for the finals, yeah.
Huh.
Okay, my bad. It
Yeah.
wasn't Collingwood. My bad.
Oh,
I must have seen
wishful thinking.
something. I don't know what I saw. I saw something with Collingwood. I
Okay.
think it was that they were made aware of the report. So it's actually Joel Smith. He's named. I'm looking at the
Joel Smith. Which team?
from
Remind
Melbourne.
me. Melbourne. Oh,
Let me
see.
just share my screen so I can
Share
actually
it. Let's
show you
check it
what I'm
out.
looking at. This is like on Twitter. Melbourne Utility returns positive drug test.
Ah. It doesn't say what kind of drugs.
Should we have a look?
Yeah, let's check it out.
I'll read it.
Gossip.
Melbourne Utility Joel. Melbourne Utility Joel Smith has tested positive to taking drugs late in the 2023 home and away season, reports
Okay.
the Herald Sun. Uh, a urine sample was taken from Smith after a game in the weeks leading into the finals.
Okay.
The result returned a positive for a banned substance, which is believed to be cocaine.
Ah, damn cocaine.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's
So here's my question for you.
yeah.
So were they covering it up? Do you think, is that what they're suggesting? It was covered up until now? Or was it like a snafu? They just, oh, we forgot we took this test. And
Well, there's a few bits here because very rarely, if ever, does a player get named. And I think if a player could be wrong,
yeah.
but from what I'm led to believe, I'm pretty sure you only get named if you go to like your third strike because you get like a 3 strike
Oh.
policy with banned substances in the league. So the first two, I'm pretty sure you remain anonymous. I'm sure of it.
So what
The fact that
happens
he's
after
been,
the third strike? Is he like out of football? Or, I mean, how does that work?
I think he's probably going to serve a suspension of some kind.
Oh, okay. I see. But not kicked out of the league, just punished.
No, I don't think he'll be kicked out of the league.
Okay.
Yeah,
So here's my next question.
yeah.
Should we even care about this? Like, if it's not a performance enhancing drug, does it matter? I mean, are we counting how many beers these guys have during the season? Like, does Australia have just outdated ideas about recreational drugs, or you know what I mean?
I mean that is a great conversation to have. I mean,
Yeah.
we have started moving the needle with this sort of stuff. Like in Canberra, they've decriminalised all drug possession offences
Oh, just in Canberra.
just in Canberra.
Huh.
And basically, we're slowly starting to move to a point where I think we're treating drugs as a mental health issue.
Instead of a fun.
Well,
Instead of,
instead of a recreational legal
yeah.
issue, I think it's becoming a mental health and
Yeah.
welfare issue. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, the fact that he's been
Rather than
named,
criminal, huh? Yeah.
yeah, rather than criminal,
Okay. Got it.
which I agree that's the right approach. I think a lot of
Yeah.
countries have done that as well.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. I mean,
but
again, it's sort of like, what he does on his own time, I guess. But, it'd be one thing if it was, yeah, like it affected his game in a positive way. Then now you're talking, a little bit differently. But that whole mental health thing, though, kind of rubs me the wrong way too, because anytime they want to like not have a conversation about somebody, it's always goes
yeah,
straight to like, oh, they're having mental health issues. And I'm like, are they though? Because the question for me would be like, are you turning everything into mental health issues? And then that like kind of takes away from people who actually have mental health issues, right?
hey, that's
You
it.
know?
I'm with you on that. I think
Yeah.
that rears its head everywhere.
Yeah.
like people will pick and choose when it's mental health,
Right.
and you're right. Those who are actually struggling end up being grouped with, you know, these
Yeah. Or
people
it just
who,
kind of like dilutes it a little bit.
yeah.
Right.
No,
A
I
little bit.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. What happens in the US? Like, what do you?
I honestly, I have no
Yeah.
idea. Like now I'm going to have to like get back to you on this one. I don't know how it's handled. I would imagine it's not dissimilar,
Mm,
you know? If I mean, because the reality is there's the rules, right? You have rules, and the rules say you can't do X, Y, and Z. And if you do it, you should suffer the consequences of it. That's the rule it should be the rule for everybody, right? But I'm just questioning whether the rule makes sense in this day and age. You know what I mean? And also, like now that like pot is legal in the U.S. in most, not all the states, but many states, it also becomes like, I bet these guys are smoking joints and like, is that getting covered up? I mean, it could be.
that is
It's
a
not that
conversation.
hard.
Well, I mean, I know in the NFL for sure,
Yeah.
use of marijuana I mean, it's used for pain treatment, back pain, spasms,
Actual
all sorts of
smoking
things.
pot or just like CBD stuff?
You pick and choose either or.
Okay. Okay.
And I've always, since I learned that, I always thought, and I was always curious around if that would ever come to the AFL, because it's a contact sport. Their
Yeah.
bodies are in all sorts of pain.
Yeah.
There's no doubt it would have some remedial benefits. But we're also in a point in, like, in Victoria, for example, like you can get a prescription now.
Oh, you can?
Um, yeah, you can get a prescription, and you know, you,
For actual buds.
yep,
Oh, cool.
yep,
Yeah, I know
buds,
things are
oils,
changing.
like depending on who you are and what you prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
So are there
Um,
actual like medicinal marijuana shops in Melbourne? Like you
They
pop
are
into the store?
starting. They are starting. They're like dispensaries. So you
Oh,
take
yeah.
your prescription, and you take it there, and they have it on site there. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's a funny one. We do not allow. What an interesting turn this conversation's gone to. We we
Postseason, baby. We can talk
yeah,
about whatever we
I know. We
want.
can really dive into the world. No, um, um, you are not allowed. Companies are not allowed to market it,
Okay.
but it is. You can get a prescription.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, that's how
just
it
a
was
fact.
here for a long time.
Mhm.
And then it's still, I think, that way in some other states. But now here, like
Yeah.
literally, it's like, it's actually kind of wacky because you can like, you walk in, like, there's this one place that used to look like an Apple store, like exactly like an Apple store, but they were selling pot. And then it's like you
Wow.
go in and you look, and there's like all the different buds and the different, descriptions of them, and you can like smell them. And like, it's just so weird, It's like,
Wow.
it just seems like it doesn't seem wrong in the sense of like they shouldn't be selling it, but it's just like historically that it was so like,
Correct.
hidden. And now it's like an Apple store. It's like, wow, this is really kind of come a long way, But
I would be curious to see how many athletes in Australia have a prescription, even if it's just
oh,
for oils at night,
yeah.
to relieve pain. Like, I think it's a topic that hasn't really been spoken about
We
in
need to
in
add like
media.
an investigative reporter
Well, look at us
to
bringing
the
it to the
Blue
table.
Abroad. Exactly.
So,
Oh, so I have a quick thing to tell you. So I was
wait,
sent a little care. What?
I
What?
just found
Oh,
the three strike policy. I want to just,
oh,
like,
okay. Tell
wrap
me.
that up.
Yeah,
Hold that thought.
I
So,
will.
three strikes,
Yeah.
a player receives a $5,000 fine for the first strike,
All right.
while undergoing counseling and target testing. So this is for a player who possesses, uses, or deals an illicit drug, returns a
Okay.
positive sample, or refuses to submit a sample. So strike one, five thousand
Okay.
dollar fine. Strike two is the player's name is made public, and he serves a
Oh,
4-match suspension. A
okay.
third strike incurs a 12-match suspension,
So it looks like this might be strike two for this guy because you
potentially.
just found out his name, right?
Potentially. Sorry, I had to just clear that up before we
No,
move
no,
on.
I'm glad that you told me. This was just a little like shout out to your show because so I was sent a care package from Melbourne by the one of the guys at Ankle Sore, and his sister was here visiting, and she's the one who hand delivered it to me,
Oh,
and
wow.
she goes, oh, I know you. I know you from Blue Abroad. She's like, I've seen you and I've seen you on Blue Abroad. And, and she loved it. But it was so cute that she's like, obviously she's a Carlton supporter and she watches your
Yeah,
show because she goes, oh, yeah, I see you with Terry. I was like, yay. So
wild.
it was really
That is
cute.
that's
Yeah.
actually wild.
Yeah.
Um,
So she gave me a big hug. It was really sweet, actually. I mean, it's like a kind of like this weird. We might have talked about this before, but it's like this weird consequence of like, oh, I just want to do the show. It's gonna be fun, and then like you end up meeting like all these cool people and sweet people, and you form these like relationships with people that you don't even know, but you kind of feel close to them because you have something in common or they've seen you enough that they kind of feel like I guess that's how people feel. I'm not calling us celebrities, but I'm saying I think people feel that way about, people they see on TV. Like they feel like they know them because they, spend time with them, basically.
you should, like I said when we've spoken about this, but you come to a Carlton game next year,
Yeah.
and I think you'll find a few more people come up to you and say, "Hey, I know who you are."
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
cool. It's a very unique. It's a very unique relationship.
Yeah.
Like this is the end of the sixth season that I've covered week to week
Yeah.
properly. Um, and
Amazing.
I think one of the strangest things about, not strange, just interesting about meeting people who like who know me because they watch, but I've never spoken to. Like when people come up and say hello, it's not just like, oh hey, I what. It's like they know me. It's like,
Right.
Hez, how I like. There's like a really intimate relationship, even though I've never met someone, but
Right.
they know me because it's very conversational and like we're not like this is me,
Right. And then you're
you know.
like, you're like trying to like rack your brain, like you actually, do I know this person? Like, you're right. It's like you don't want to insult someone you actually know either,
Heck,
right? If
yeah.
they're super familiar.
Well, the hard part is I am very familiar with like usernames who comment,
Oh, yeah.
but you don't always know what that person looks like.
Right. That's a good
So
point.
it's like, you know,
Yeah.
people will come up and say, "Hey, hey, how are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, good. How are you?" And like, I know that they know that I don't know who they are exactly. So it's like if you can just have
Oh,
like a name tag with your
right.
username on YouTube, it would make it so much easier.
Yeah. Like full ID, photos,
Mm,
everything, full
mm,
description of who you are and your likes and dislikes. It would be
yeah,
much easier. Oh my God. So I want to ask you
yeah.
about I just lost it, the trades, because I know there was a couple big trades for you guys. You
Mm-hmm.
lost Patty Dow and you lost Fisher,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the teams are going to. Oh, what a doozy. But how are you feeling? Are you, you know?
I loved Zach.
Yeah.
He was one of the few that I actually got to meet and build like some rapport with.
Yeah.
I stay away and I sort of keep the fence where it is. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm just busy doing work. I'm not trying to like get into like football circles with players or things like that. Like I'm
Right.
just whatever. I have a job to do kind of thing, and
Yeah.
so do they. And so seeing Zach leave was hard just because I've met him. I know him as a human. He's so good with the fans.
Yeah.
Um, but I think what it really means, I'm actually really happy that it's happened. And I'll tell you why. Because for
Tell
the
me.
first time, this club, we are moving away from the sentiment of some of these players, like just because we drafted them and we wanted them to
Ah, I
be part of the
understand.
premiership team. Now it's like it's business,
Yeah.
and if you're not performing and if you can't get into the team, then we're like it's serious now. And Paddy was part of and Zach were part of like this initial group with Petrevsky, Seaton, and these types, and so I think it
Oh, that's
just
right. Petresky Seaton was a blue.
he was a bagger,
And he got cut. He got dropped from the Eagles.
which
Like,
goes to show it was
yeah,
a great bit of business for Carlton,
right, right.
you know?
Yeah,
So, I mean, look, I wish him the best. I
yeah.
just don't think I actually felt Zach had a bit more to offer than Paddy. Paddy was
Mm,
just he's a midfielder. There's too many better midfielders in the team right now. He's only
right.
really going to play if some of them are injured. Whereas Zach is versatile, so he can play a little bit of forward, a little bit of wing, a
Yeah.
little bit of defense. So that's why I thought we could use him. But the kid we've brought in, Elijah Hollins, is just
Mm,
a 21-year-old version of those guys who's a little bit stronger and
Do
has a
I
bit more.
know? Do I know who that is? Who is Elijah?
He was drafted with pick 7 in 2020.
Okay.
He was a touted number 1 pick, but he did his ACL in his draft year.
Okay.
And so he slid a little bit to 7.
Yeah.
And he has basically been playing out of position at the Gold Coast Suns. They've played him a little bit of forward. He's really just a midfielder that I guess he can
Why
be a
can't I
forward as well.
picture? I'm gonna have to look him up because I can't picture him. Or do you want to put him up for me?
I can bring him up. Yeah, I
I
might have
like
a
to like
photo of him.
match their. It's funny too. Like, what is it? 4 weeks out from no, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out from the grand final. Like your brain starts like going. I start like. I can't
Yeah.
remember like what was that again? Who was that? What? It's
So Elijah's brother Ollie plays at Carlton.
oh yeah.
So
Okay.
this is him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
That's Elijah.
Okay.
He was at the Gold Coast Suns. He's with us now. I don't expect much of him, to be honest.
Yeah.
He may break into the side next year. He may be that good and be ready to
Yeah.
take a spot, but I think we just needed some depth.
Yeah.
But, I think we're in good
So
shape.
you're feeling pretty good. You're
Mhm.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've dropped or cut, as you would say,
Yeah.
quite a few.
Okay.
Do you know what a list clogger is?
A list clogger. Like, I mean, here we go again. It sounds like something, yeah, something that's like keeping things from flowing or yeah. Yeah. Like it sounds like a pipe, like a drain
Yeah.
thing
So for a
clog, right?
long time, we had a lot of people. We had players on the list that were kind of like, "Are you a development player? Is this your ceiling? We don't quite know what's the like. Where are you going to get to?" And I
Yeah.
think we've removed a lot of them over the
I
course
see.
of the last few
So
years.
you trade it to and then you dropped a bunch of people.
Yeah. So we
Okay.
traded out. Yeah, we traded out the 2 players, and we brought in 1 player and a bunch of picks, which we're going to use for the
I think you have
bidding.
like 22 and 28. Is that right? Am I accurate?
It's 22 and 28. Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
And then there's like a bunch of future picks,
Okay.
which are you familiar with like the father son concept and the
Yes,
bidding
because
system?
somebody called Terry told me about it.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
we needed picks which have an equivalent value with points that we can use when we're bringing in those father son kids next year.
Okay.
So
Okay. So you're
that's
feeling
the
happy about your pick,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
your future picks. I'm sorry,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking down because I had a bunch of stuff I wrote down for you. So I'm asking this question to several people. I'd like to know how you feel the 2023 season was as a whole.
For Carlton,
Like just the game, AFL. Like, how did you feel about the whole season? Not
great.
just Carlton. Obviously,
No,
Carlton had a great,
yeah,
as good as well, wasn't the best because they didn't win the grand final. But yeah, I mean, they didn't get to the grand final. But you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think, I mean, I think the competition's in good stead.
yeah,
I think, I think it's imperfect, and it always will be.
yeah,
It's. I don't think it's ever going to be a black and white league, but I think we have one of the more evenly balanced competitions in the league. Like I know that Collingwood won the flag and they were the best team all year,
yeah,
but I feel like as we entered the finals series, nobody really knew who was going to win it. Like
yeah. It
and
was
I think
competitive. It was tough. It was,
yeah.
yeah,
So for all the complaints that you can always find something that's wrong with the league, but I actually
yeah.
think it's the best version of the league that we've had that I can
Oh, that's
remember.
really positive, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, because there was like some things like that I've been thinking about, like, so in ways of like, how can the AFL improve? And like, one of the things that comes up is like, are gate receipts more important than TV viewers? And if not, then are there things that can be done to enhance the experience for the game as a product, as an
Yeah.
entertainment product, like a show?
Hmm.
So, I mean, those are kind of things that, because I think like in terms of the actual activity, the sport itself, like it was it was a nail biter every week. Like it would go, and
Yep.
then like the ladder. See, I still have like a little bit of COVID brain. The ladder, like every like teams were like one game out. Like there'd be like 8 teams that were all like one game out. So I mean that would show that it was super competitive. But as a product, like, is there room for improvement?
Hmm. For sure, I think the answer is yes. As a product, there's room for improvement. I think of the rule changes that come in every year. It's a
Yeah.
very rare league in that it changes the rules of the game pretty much every year. There's always a tinkering.
Yeah, it seems like that.
But having said that, I understand the need to do something about the head collisions because
Yeah.
it was literally only 30 years ago where you could like, we were seeing people like king hit people from behind, and that was just like part of the game.
Mm.
So, yeah, I think we're bringing the game into the modern world,
Yeah.
and there's always going to be a bit of drawback from the older generation who watched that type of game and thought it was the best thing because it was kind of like the UFC but a ball game.
Right.
um,
Like when men were men.
Yeah,
Urgh.
we
Yeah.
were real. We're back when the game was real men, when they hit people from behind like real men.
Well, I was told that
Um,
I have to rewatch, or not rewatch, watch the '89 grand final. And one of the
yes,
comments was like, oh, is it, what's his name? Dermot? No, Barrett.
yep.
What's his name? Is
Dermot
it?
Brereton.
Yeah, that's it's like that actor in LA, Dermot Mulholland. I can't remember now. Anyway, but I was so I have to watch that because apparently, like right at the beginning of the game, he had his ribs broken or something like that. Is that accurate?
Targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was told no, that was the best, and that was part of the reason. I'm like, oh, so I need to watch this guy like
yeah.
be nearly
Well,
hospitalized.
yeah. So I think the game as a product in that regard, it's moving forward.
Yeah.
I think it's evolving. I think the appointment of Laura Kane as the executive GM of football is a
Mm,
real step in the right direction for the future of the league because all of a sudden you've gone from, let's just say what it is, an old white man in a suit
yeah.
to somebody who's from not just a female but in the modern world, who's grown up in the digital world and understands
Right.
the next wave of consumer.
Yeah.
And then to answer your question around what's more important, I think the TV, the eyeballs, that the
Yeah.
eyeballs are going to be the future of the game.
Yeah. Well,
I'm obviously
even
biased.
for I know, and even for like, and I think we've touched on this a million times, but even the idea of growing the game, like whether logistically you could grow the game in terms of having it in other countries, like, but you could grow it in terms of people watching it, right? Like you
Yep.
don't need to do much to like to have some kind of change where just like, I mean, I'm always blown away, like whenever I talk to you guys back in Australia, like how much you do know about NBA, NFL, even baseball. I mean, like you guys watch American sports, so why can't Americans be watching Australian sports? Like,
Hmm.
it's
I
like
think
they love
I
it.
think fun. I feel like because how many cricket pitches are there in where you live? None,
What's
right?
cricket? Honestly,
Exactly.
that's great. We didn't grow up with cricket.
So
You
that
probably have it.
I think that's part of the issue why it's hard to grow the game physically in the US because
Right.
the game is played on a cricket pitch.
Yeah.
That's not to say you can't watch the game as entertainment.
Well, that's what I'm
Um,
saying though.
you know,
Like I see a world where people are watching it, the way you guys watch the NBA.
yeah.
Like why wouldn't they? I mean, it's it's spectacular, lack of a better word. It's but it has to, like, things have to change. Like you guys have to stop putting on all the games at the same time on the same day. Like
Hey,
what's that
amen
about?
to that. Amen to
You
that. Well,
know?
this is where the grand final at night debate
Yep.
ignites. And
Yep.
I actually think for the first time
Yeah.
this year, I actually said to myself, it's time.
Was it
It's
the
time.
the pyrotechnic display
Maybe,
going off during the
maybe it was, but I mean, I think having spoken to you a little bit more,
Yeah.
and when we talk, you say, "Oh, I got up at 5 a.m. to watch the game or 3,
Yeah.
whatever it was." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that actually does affect people because you don't need a reason, you don't need too much of a reason to not wake up early to watch a game that you don't." have
Yeah.
in your own country. So it's like, yeah, I think eyeballs are the frontier.
Yeah.
Um, I think for Australia, having the women's league is also important to where they've gotten it now for the future of the sport, because now you have brought in a whole gender that are now, have a
Yeah.
dream to play it professionally. But I still, I mean, I'll always be obsessed with the content side of things, and bringing the Americans into
Yeah.
the audience. I
Right.
mean, they didn't prop up Mason Cox. He's a premiership hero now.
Well, I mean, they
Like,
unfortunately it would have made more sense if they did his story twice on 60 Minutes, right? Well, they replayed it. Same story, they replayed
uh,
it. But that happened, well, it wasn't timed to like the grand final or anything like that. But certainly, I was reached out to by several people who actually saw 60 Minutes, and they were all excited because it was related to what I'm doing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
it definitely it brought it to, other people's attention that there is another sport. I mean, they still can't put their finger on it. They still don't understand
It's
what
like
it
it's not
is.
rugby, but it's
Oh my God. It's so funny. Even people who I've sent, like, I'll send there's like that YouTube, what is AFL, like little 20-minute video. And I've sent that out to so many people. So even the people who I've sent that to and they've watched it
yeah.
still like, 3 months later, they'll be like, so when they're playing on the rugby or when they're doing it's like, no, what are you doing? What's wrong with you people? So,
You want to see something really cool?
yes, please.
Um, I have to show you this.
Okay.
So, have you met Pommy?
No, just watched him on your show.
Okay.
I'm familiar. I feel
So
like I know him.
many years ago, he created a video where he
Yeah.
basically took the What is AFL 5-minute video and kind of expanded on it.
Okay.
And I was going down a YouTube rabbit hole,
Yeah.
and I found Americans who had reacted to our video. So, for example, this one here, these two guys,
Yeah.
77,000 views, but there were two ladies, and I forgot to ask you if you
Oh,
knew
I
who they
think I
were.
watched that.
The two women.
Yeah, they're like a couple in the Midwest somewhere, or like,
So
right?
that's what I was getting at. I'm like,
Oh, that was it. Go back. Go back.
wait.
Go back. We said mind blown, right?
Yes. Look at this.
Yeah.
200,000 views.
Hey,
What the hell?
I
And they're like
know.
and they're like playing
us as we learn
Yeah.
life.
they're like playing, there's our
Yeah.
little logo.
I know.
I
Yeah.
only 11 days ago. There you go. I didn't know.
Yeah. People are
I didn't
watching it. And then somebody also pointed out to me that during COVID, like the only sport that was playing was AFL. Like I forgot about this, right? And
Hmm.
then that there was somebody in the US that caught it and was like mind blown, like some, professional, either commentator or somebody, of note caught it and was like, oh my God, what is this? And then again, boom, right downhill. Like, it's been suggested it was a great opportunity then to really promote AFL, but I would imagine under the circumstances, like there was so much scramble. Like I'm rewatching Making Their Mark. And so like you're kind of watching it unfold, the chaos. And I think in terms of like taking the game to new heights while you're just trying to figure out what you're doing from day in and day out was probably not, on the front of people's brains at the time. But what a missed opportunity, right?
Well,
You could have put that out everywhere, every channel, every
yeah. I
day.
mean, I've actually I'll give you a little secret.
Yeah.
The video was filmed, I think, in 2020 or 2019.
Okay.
And I've gone back at the start of every year and
Yeah.
written updated 2020, updated 2021. Then I changed the title. So
Okay.
like, because I know people will be searching eventually what is AFL. So if I have like updated
Oh,
2023,
yes, 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 yes.
anyway, but I think it got me thinking. I'm like, maybe it's time, because 5 years ago or 6 years ago when I started this, there was no such thing as what I just showed you with Americans reacting to the game and having
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of views. So I'm like, do we need to start making some videos about talking about the game? Like,
Yeah.
are the people starting to get curious enough to search?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lots of possibilities here. A lot of potential.
yeah,
Only upside.
You want to see something cool?
Yeah. Let me see.
This,
Oh, wait, pull it back. It's all blurry. Okay.
oh,
Beautiful.
this
What is it?
is a membership from 1949.
Oh, how cool.
So do you see like these little holes here? One,
Yeah.
two, and three.
Yeah.
So there's numbers for the round, and you basically used to get a stamp when you'd go to a game. So this person obviously only went to 3 games in the season. But like,
Aw.
how cool is that? It's
Where'd
like
you get that from?
it was gifted to me.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah, it was a gift from a gentleman who's a fan of the channel, and like that's a 70, is that right? Like 73-year-old
Yeah.
item. Isn't that
474.
cool? I
Yeah.
just think, yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway,
So let's see what else I had on my mind because I was thinking of you. I don't know. Let's see. We already talked about the drugs. That was exciting.
yeah.
Oh,
It's so taboo. These
yeah.
those discussions are so taboo, and
Are
this is
they?
where I think, yeah, as in I think the Australians, I
Yeah.
think we're a bit behind such conversations, not only with drugs, but I think with a lot of things. Like we're pretty conservative here in Australia, and so
Yeah.
most new conversations or new ideas or innovations come to us a little late.
Yeah.
Like we're pretty good at the sports science space,
Yeah.
but these mature conversations, it's just really like, if you go on
So,
Twitter and you see the reaction to this Joel Smith situation, I'm sure you're going to look at it and you'll be like, "What are you people talking about?"
so what's interesting is though you guys like, for example, gave women the right to vote even before we had the right to vote in the U.S. Like you were more on top of it for that.
Mm.
I didn't you also, or was it recently? When did you guys let the gay rights, gay marriage? Was
Gay
that?
marriage was
It was recently.
2018, 19, I think it was around about then.
Yeah. So it's, and then you guys don't seem to have like the religious hangups that we have here. But at the same time, it's interesting because it does seem very conservative, but it's like
Extremely.
also like why, like what's that piece that they're holding on to because they don't really, it doesn't seem like they attach it to, like here it'd be like, well, God says, and I feel like you guys don't have that element of,
I think it depends where. I mean, I think there's an underlying, like an undertone of it. It
yeah,
just doesn't rear its head. We don't use it
okay,
to form a position with what
yeah,
we're trying to get out there. I mean,
yeah.
we just had the referendum for the Indigenous voice.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I know like this much about it. I know it did not pass.
Mm,
I know that. And I know the people that I know who want it to pass. I know what kind of people they are. So I would imagine that had something to do with the old versus the new kind of thing.
essentially, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think. I mean, we just have a. I mean, then there's the whole. I don't think society here has much trust in when government tells you what to do because of what
Mm.
happened with lockdowns, and I think that might have a lingering effect for a while.
Yeah.
Um, but I
Yeah.
think that's everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
We're
you
just not
guys.
as outspoken about such things as what, or our level of maturity in these conversations is just not at the
Yeah.
same level that I see when I speak to people from other countries.
I see.
You
I
know,
gotcha. Well, who knows? There's hope.
might be time to leave, Cindy. Might be time to come to LA, come to Hollywood.
Oh, come to LA. Come hang out with us. It'll be
I don't know
fun.
if I don't know if I could live in LA.
Why not? What's wrong with LA?
I think the older I get, the more I dislike the Western world.
Oh, I gotcha.
You
I
know?
gotcha. Yeah, I understand that element.
Yeah.
But as places go in the US, I mean, we do have our problems. We have
Yeah.
issues. We got a lot of homeless people. That's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But we also have a lot of rights that are protected. And it's the weather's beautiful. I mean, that would be different for you, that not having 4 seasons in one day, like having
Correct.
one season in one year. That's what it would
Yes.
be.
A season per season.
Yeah, like you'd actually be like, oh, I want to go somewhere that's cold. Like I haven't worn this jacket in a while. I feel like I'll book a flight to Colorado in the middle of the winter. Like you'd have to do that. But there's always something to do. There's every major sport except for Australian football. Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
I I just realized
yeah.
we've been filming for 40 minutes
Oh,
and we have not spoken about the US AFL 2023 national competition that was just held 5 days ago.
so all I know about that is that the LA Dragons were in it.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't tell you if they won. Like none of the posts I've seen on it had anything to do with that.
Oh,
And then I'm supposed to chat with this guy who I think I mentioned to you. He has his own podcast about football in other countries, and he was there. And I was supposed to try to meet up with him, but it's becoming impossible. So we might just have a little conversation about it. But he went to the competition, so I
well,
haven't got an update on it.
well, Mason Cox was there. Laura Kane was there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it's a big deal.
Wow. And it still wasn't covered that Mason Cox was there.
I just saw it on Instagram that he was there.
Oh,
But so on the 15th of October, they had day two. They had like the final,
yeah, it
like
was in
the finals.
Sarasota, I think. West coast of
Florida.
Florida. Oh,
Yeah.
Florida. Yeah.
Let me know if I've said this right. Bradenton, Sarasota, Florida.
Sarasota's right, but Bradenton maybe? Bradenton? I don't know. It's not a big place. Brady? Yeah. Yeah.
Bradenton. Bradenton.
Bradenton. Wow.
Bradenton, Sarasota.
If it's not Miami and Orlando, I don't
Oh,
what
okay.
do
I
I
see.
know? No,
Oh,
I'm
you're a
just
bit too
kidding.
cool.
Actually, no, no. I mean, I went to school in Tallahassee.
Tallahassee?
Tallahassee. Yeah. And
Is that where T-Pain's from?
I don't know. How do I know these things?
Is Tallahassee? Is that a place? Tallahassee? Or is it
No.
Tallahassee?
Tallahassee. Yeah.
Mate, T-Pain is from Tallahassee for sure.
Really?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm learning. I'm always learning from you. It doesn't
Always,
matter
always.
what the subject, I'm always
Yeah.
learning. No,
Yeah.
Tallahassee is the state capital. It's our Canberra. And
Uh-huh.
it's in Florida looks like kind of like a boot, what was it? Well, it looks more like a gun actually.
Yeah.
And it's like right in the center of the top of it. So it's not near any water. It's a beautiful place. It's the South for most, for all intensive purposes. And it's got the capital and then it's got the university. So like it's kind of an interesting mix and an interesting place to go to school. But no, I'm really not a Florida snob. I was just kind of teasing. Like there was a tornado recently in this place called Dunedin. Dunedin. And I just found out about, I mean, it's like anything. It's like if I started rattling off like random places in Australia, you'd be like, huh? What? Where?
True.
But
True.
I
Like,
just got introduced to Noosa.
oh, mate. Noosa.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's where you go for a honeymoon. That's like a sanctuary.
I mean, it reminded me of Miami, to be honest with you. I guess it's kind of all the same area, right? Is that part of Gold Coast or?
Kind of. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Just along the coast.
Yeah, but in fairness, like, so I watch a lot of international house hunter shows and I watch a lot of the Australia ones in particular. And so it's like almost every single time, like, oh, that place is awesome. Oh, look how beautiful it is there. Like, oh, I love this. So it's like, you have a beautiful country. It's not like, not that hard to find nice things about it.
True.
Yeah,
We do have a good country.
you do.
I am grateful to be here.
Okay,
Sometimes.
Where are you moving to now?
Don't know. Don't know.
Costa Rica, maybe?
There's a chapter to be written somewhere. I feel it in my bones.
Gotcha. Well, maybe a vacation to the U.S. Come say
No,
hi.
I like to go and live. I like to go and like immerse,
You're an all or nothing. When's your birthday?
The 18th of April.
Oh, you're Aries. No,
Yeah.
you're an Aries.
Yeah.
Almost
What, is it?
cusp though.
What does that mean?
You're like you're my polar opposite. I'm a Libra.
Oh, you're like on the fence.
I'm just like everything has to be balanced.
Uh-huh.
Gotta look at
Yeah.
things like a judge. Gotta
Mm,
gotta weigh it out. Yeah, you're very black and white. Look at you. All right. Well, we'll work on that. We'll see what's new for Terry in 2024, I imagine.
Yep.
You're not
Looking
taking off
forward to it.
anytime soon, right?
You never know.
My
Who knows?
goodness. Well, I'm
Who
so
knows?
happy that we finally got to talk. I was
It was good.
missing our time together, and oh my God, trust me, like if I could have like done it, I would have, but it was just it's been not pretty. So, you know.
Should play your voice message because like context. So it's good to see that you're back to life.
Did you actually see me in the pink
Yeah.
hoodie? God, I was like,
Uh,
wow, like, like I was
I
drunk actually.
respect it. I respect the fact that you still filmed and um
It was so anticlimactic, you know? It's like
yeah.
the week before, like, look at us, we're in Paris, ooh la la. And then the next week it's like nothing. It was so it was so depressing. Like it was such a fun season. We had so much fun, and you have all of your ideas and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then it was just nothing.
Yep.
So
Back
it was a bit of a disappointment, but we're now a couple weeks into postseason. I interviewed they interviewed me before, but I interviewed the ankle sore guys from my side. And then we're going to start interviewing a few other people. We have some stuff lined up, and we have some kind of fun silliness that's
cool.
will be coming your way
All right.
in the future weeks. So I'm excited about like just kind of being able to have some fun and like play a little bit more with my friends, in football, not
Yeah,
attached to the actual games.
of
So
course.
it should be
All
pretty
right.
fun.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll stay in touch and
Yeah. Sounds
looking
good.
forward to our next chat.
All right, baby.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Go Blues.